Welcome to 24 Days of Drops, an Animal Crossing New Horizons advent calendar that reveals a new build for differently themed island entrants each day until Christmas. Are you ready for today's theme? Hello, and welcome to day 3 of our Animal Crossing advent calendar, which I, for some reason, called 24 Days of Drops. Still no idea why I wanted to give it a name, but I feel like I always have to give stuff a name. And obviously, you know, our community is called The Drops, so I thought that was quite fitting. Lovely that I'm also getting into this at the start of day 3, but here we are. Welcome, I hope you all are well. Welcome to day 3. Today, we are building a Stormy swamp island entrance. So it's going to be very, very overgrown. We're going to be using a beautiful glowing swamp path that probably most of you are familiar with. I've seen it on so many islands before, and it is absolutely stunning because it also matches the glowing moss items. So I'm very excited to be using that. There's also going to be a ton of waterscaping and cliffscaping, so this build was right up my alley. And this was actually one of the builds that was requested when I first asked for requests. Someone said that they'd like to see a stormy swamp theme, not knowing that I would be doing an island entrance kind of advent calendar, but I really liked the idea, so that's what we're gonna go ahead and build today. But yeah, I know that some of you may not love building at nighttime, but I feel like, you know, the further we get into this build, you will see why I wanted to put this at night, because there's going to be all these like glowing and illuminated items that we're going to be using. So it's going to look kind of magical as well. And I think if this was one of my islands that I'd probably, you know, continue, then I would definitely keep the museum tent and maybe even incorporate that in an area that was very close to the island entrance because of the lights and stuff. I feel like that would match the vibe quite well. Not sure why I'm telling you this, but just giving you inspo, you know, if you decide that this would be an interesting theme for you to work on. But yeah, first up, obviously you just saw me plant a bunch of trees, which we're also going to be doing later on, but now I wanted to kind of try and get an idea of how this space would be looking. Also, I'm going to be a bit waffly today. I still don't feel too well. It is currently November 21st for me, and yeah, I still feel a little bit sick. I still feel a little bit bleh in the head, so brain fog is very much a thing. So if at any point you think that
Mina, love, can you just not talk? Can we just enjoy the build, please? Thank you.
I'm very sorry. Okay, I'm very sorry, but I hope that this is okay, and I hope that you're all well, and that you have been enjoying the advent calendar so far. I very much am, and it's been very fun to also edit it for some reason. I'm usually, like, obviously when I first started YouTube, I was very much into editing, and now I still am. But it kind of, you get into like a routine of things. But with this, with like the new intro kind of thing that I edited together that we're gonna have in front of like all the builds that we have, I thought, I don't know, like it's just so much fun because it's a slightly different process for me to edit these. And it's also fun to know that I am pre-producing, because that gives me so much peace of mind to know that I have stuff to upload and stuff. So that brings me a lot of joy as well for some reason. I don't know, like I'm very big on planning, but when it comes to my work and YouTube, I am so fucking bad with planning ahead and staying on top of my videos. So this has been a very pleasant change for me in my workflow and stuff. But now that we have kind of built up all these cliffs, I also cut out a lot of the, you know, me just filling in the back kind of area, because that's kind of boring. You don't really need to see that. We are now filling up all the diagonal cliff spaces with like the corners of the cliffs with those vines so that it looks a bit more overgrown. And now we're going to be flopping in a ton of trees, and we're also going to be starting to use this beautiful swamp path. Obviously, as I said in my last build, all the codes that are used in this island entrance are going to be in the description box down below if you'd like to check that out and use some of them for yourself, you know. But yeah, I was very excited to be working with this path because it's just so I don't know, it kind of looks like fireflies, but it also kind of looks magical. So it was just very, very fun to work with. And I feel like also the color palette with, I think this island is set in like early June, I think, or mid-June. So the grass was very, very green, which I usually don't work with. I usually work either in September or in like very, very early in the year, so like March or February or something like that. So it was a very nice change to work with this like rich, almost like got edging on like the bluish hue of green. So it was very, very fun to work with, and I feel like it just added so much to this theme being a bit, you know, richer in color, and I don't know, like a bit, it just felt very, very nice to be changing it up a little bit, because you all must be very sick of me working with the autumn weeds and in September as well. So I'm very sorry if that's the case, but that's just my favorite time of year, you know, my absolute favorite time of year. But yeah, also, sorry, I need to hold. Let me fix my nose. Lovely. We love that. It's always so fun. But, you know, I'm still excited to be doing this. And even though I did cancel a couple of streams as I was sick, I was still recording some stuff or editing some stuff, just not with my voice in it and stuff, because I'm saying a lot of stuff, right? Like, I'm using the word stuff a lot today. Well, but maybe because my nose is stuffy. help me. But it's a big difference to, you know, stream rather than, you know, talk like, oh my god, to talk for like 3 to 4 hours, as opposed to be talking for like 20 or like even just 15 minutes for this one, because this is on the shorter side. But I feel like with the shorter builds, or with the more natural builds, they just always turn out to be a little bit shorter, because I can cut out a lot of the cliffscaping and stuff, which takes a lot of my time. But I don't know, like I really enjoy the natural builds as well, because they come to me quite naturally. Like I don't really have to pre-plan which items I'm going to be using, because I feel like with most of these like natural builds, you're just exchanging like a couple of items, or even just the swatches of the different items, and you can just, I don't know, you can turn like a group of items into a completely different theme by just changing up the custom design codes, the time of day, the season and stuff. So it's very fun to see how much you can push a color palette or a kind of collection of items that you've already been using, because I feel like this selection of items could also be like, this is not much different to the storybook theme that we've done with the items, but because I'm using different swatches, a different time of day and different custom design codes, slightly different trees and stuff, it just turns out to look completely different, in my opinion at least. I hope it's not going to get too repetitive for you. But as we get, you know, more and more into these videos, it's going to get more and more kind of unique with the theme. So I'm very excited to be sharing some of those as well. Even though I feel like most of us are very obsessed with natural themes, I don't know, I feel like it's always nice to mix it up and have like a nice selection of things. I have also thought about, and you might already know this if you've been on Twitch, because I am probably going to announce that soon over on Twitch, but because, you know, I'm recording this for you in the past, for me, so that I can post it in the future, I think I'm going to be also starting a second island that I'm going to be streaming from, because currently we're working on a kind of like candy corn, Willy Wonka type island theme, some Whoville inspos in there. But I thought that it would be nice to also maybe do a second island, because I really want to get back into doing like abandoned cities. So I think I am finally going to be tackling that The Last of Us island that I have been craving to do for such a long time, and I just always kind of pushed it back because I didn't think that people would be too interested in it. But I am very interested in it, and I think having 2 islands to stream from is going to help me a lot to, you know, kind of be motivated, because sometimes, you know, working on an island for like 4 days in a row can be a bit tiring, and you might run out of ideas. So that I can, you know, now that I can then just switch it up and work on the other island when I'm not inspired to work on the first one, I think that's going to help me a lot. And I think I realized that through working on this advent calendar, because whenever I didn't feel like working on my video island to record something on, I would just go and record an island entrance for the advent calendar that I felt very inspired to do. So I think that's going to be something that I am going to be implementing in both the streaming schedule and also the video schedule. I'm just going to be pushing out some other videos if I feel inspired to build with a theme that we're not currently actually working on for a full island. I think it's going to be fun, and it's going to spice things up a bit, and I think it's going to help me to stay motivated to not speedrun my islands, because I feel like sometimes when I don't feel inspired to do a theme anymore, I go into like full-on speedrun mode because I want to get it over with, which is not the main thing of an island. You know, if you decide on a theme, you should probably just work on it because you want to and not because you feel like you have to finish it. So I think I'm just gonna do as I always tell you and just do what my heart desires, and I think that is gonna be to spice things up every now and again. Obviously we're gonna stick to the themes that we have decided on, so it's gonna be Skir, the Nordic Druid Island for here, and then we're gonna have the Willy Wonka one on stream as well. But there's just going to be other stuff in between as well. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And as I have been waffling on, we are about to finish this section down here, and we are about to go and decorate on top of the cliffs, because I also wanted those to be very tall. So that's also why I decided to go and add a second tier up onto that cliff and have like tons of waterfalls in like multiple directions. Hi, it is I, editing Nina, because for the next like I think about 30 seconds my voice corrupted, so I am here to fill in the empty space, you know, to not leave you by yourself, because how rude of me would that be, right? Yeah, I know. But in a second you will see a very wonderful candid moment in my modding life, you know, which is me glitching into the cliffs. So I'm going to give the word back to Nina to explain that. Yes, I am. So this is me glitching because, as some of you may know, I'm recording this on my spicy Switch so that I can get items more easily. So sometimes it does glitch out, which is stunning, which is very, very stunning. Because I did Terraform a little bit with my modding software so that it was a bit easier, because I did want to have like a huge cliff up here so that I could make it look very dense with like multiple rows of trees in front of each other, so that it just looked a bit nicer. Because I feel like if you do a swamp, it has to be so dense that you can barely see the cliff behind it. I don't know, I feel like that's just what screams swamp to me, which is definitely not what it actually is. I think like swamps are actually a bit more sparse with its, you know, with their fauna, not with their fauna, with their flora, with their foliage and stuff. Because I think that technically a swamp is just gonna be swamp and there's not gonna be many trees around, but for this one I just wanted it to be very dense, so it's more like a jungly kind of swamp type of theme, I think, minus like palm trees, because I feel like in a jungle we have to have palm trees, which is probably not the case. But again, I'm not a biologist, so is that a word, biologist? Biology scientist? I have no fucking clue. I think it's biologist. Oh my god, my brain is absolutely glitching. Anyway, we are on to the last cliff up here now, so we're going to be adding a couple of trees again, some mush items, some giant vines and stuff to just give it that extra amount of height. And obviously, as you can probably tell, usually like down where the entrance actually is and where you can access it, I do like to put custom designs everywhere so that like every single tile is covered, even underneath of items. But on top of a cliff, I can't really be asked, because no one's going to notice anyway, because it's going to be, you know, you can't access this cliff, so it's just there for decoration. And I just can't be asked to add different, you know, layers with like custom designs, except for like a couple, you know, when it's like a very small item or something and I feel like it might be visible because there aren't too many trees in front of that specific spot. But I just feel like it just helped it so much to come together to have multiple layers. But obviously, again, no custom designs because it can't be asked. And I think it still works out quite well. But we are already approaching the end of this video. There's only like another minute left. Not all of the videos are going to be the exact same length. There are some builds that are going to be very, very long. Some that are going to be a bit on the shorter side, so only up to like 15 between 30, 16 minutes, but you know, most of them are probably going to be around the 18 or 17-minute mark, so like a normal kind of speed build length for our little channel. So I hope that that is okay for you. But thank you so much for tuning into day 3 already of our little advent calendar. I really hope that you enjoyed today's build. I am going to leave you now with a montage of this finished build, and maybe I'm going to see you on Twitch, twitch.tv/NinaTries, if you'd like to check us out over there and see what the other island may be that we are going to be starting. And yeah, take care of yourself, my lovely. I'm going to hopefully see you tomorrow for day number 4. And yeah, bye-bye.